After talking about the VR, and then we will talking about the AR, augmented reality. So as I have mentioned before, the augmented reality, the definition is put the virtual object into the real world, real physical world. So that means the physical world will be the major part of the augmented reality, and then putting the extra information on the top of this physical world will be AR, Okay. So for easy understanding, you will see that Pokemon Go here or lots of the games they are using AR functions. Okay, in fact, Pokemon Go they are not AR games, so they are not they are locational based game. But AR is one of the functions of Pokemon Go. They use the camera to capture the physical world, and then they put extra object. This one is the virtual Pokemon onto your physical world, onto your screen. So this is AR. So usually AR is putting extra informations, including the wordings, including the text, including the virtual object about the environment or object. So somehow you need to recognize the data of the environment. So just like this one, they need to analyze the locations of your table, and then also this vertical or horizontal surface. Or just like this one, you try to analyze your room environment and then project the information about the games outside the screen, and then project the information of the games to the whole room. Okay. So most likely the AR they need a camera. Okay, they need a camera because they need to capture the RGB. They need to capture the image of the physical world, and sometimes they also need the extra sensor. Okay, they need the extra sensor. Perhaps they need the videos, they need the graphics, they need the GPS data, orientation, sound, RFID, Wi-Fi, etc. We'll touch about it one by one. And then we will talk about the AR. So again, we will starting from the hardware first, and then we will go to the software, and then we will combine them together. So for the hardware, again, we'll start from the input first. For the input of the AR, most likely they use the camera, and then it's easy to define into two AR system. Okay, the first one is called Marker AR. So I guess all of you guys are familiar with the Marker AR because they use the camera and then capture some of the marker. The marker can be the QR code, okay, QR code. They can be some pop code, they can be some 2D tab, they can be some artificial image, or we call it vector graphics. So this one is the vector graphics, and then this one is also the vector graphics, okay. To be the marker, there are couples of criteria. So the first one, of course, is easy to determine in the physical world. So somehow the marker should be really different from your physical world. So looking at this one, okay, looking at this one. So I guess in the physical world, it's hard to find the QR code in the nature, right? So QR code is a good marker in AR system. First, it's unnatural in the physical environment, and that is easy to determine because it's only black and only white. Okay, why black and white is so important? Because different cameras they have the photo corrections. Okay, so you know that the photo taken from the Apple, iPhone, Sony, or Canon, or Nikon, or other camera, they have the color corrections. So that means that they will change the color a little bit. They will shift the color a little bit. So whatever your marker or artificial image is full of color, okay? Somehow when you go to the AR system, when you go to the AR algorithm, they will change into black and white, okay? Or they will change to grayscale because it try to ignore the color corrections of each camera, and then the final results compare with the other QR codes. So they are using black and white only. So yeah, the QR code is bad because somehow it's only black and white. The third one, the first criteria is somehow they have lots of the turning points. Okay, we call it here turning points. So each rectangle, so you have some turning points. So this kind of turning point we call it feature point. Okay, feature point. So and then the distributions of the feature points will try to analyze in the AR, and that more as the detail of the feature one and is unevenly distributed on your image, it becomes the better QR code or the better marker in the AR system. So looking at the QR code, they have lots of the turning points. There are lots of the feature points. So it's easy to implement in the AR system. So similar idea. So if you are using some wordings, okay, if you are using some wording because they are artificial image and then they are straight line, and then there are lots of turning points, okay, because there are lots of straight line, okay. So this kind of wording is also a good AR marker in the AR system. Of course, you can use some artificial image, especially about the logo. For example, the logo of IBM or the logo of HGB is one of the good example using the AR marker. But for our PolyU, okay, our PolyU logo is not really good because our PolyU logo somehow they are keep on rotating. So is when you rotate the PolyU logo, it looks like the same, and then it's hard to determine whether you are using up right or up down, etc. Okay. So besides using the AR marker, so another AR system is called markerless AR. Markerless AR. That means without any marker on the tables or on the floor, they can still recognize the physical situations. And most likely they are using extra sensor, and the common sensor will be accelerometer. Okay. That means they know the rotations. They want to know the orientations of your smartphone, and then when you are playing the Pokemon Go now, yeah, Pokemon Go out, they are using the accelerometer to estimate, okay, to estimate the orientations, and then they try to find the floor or some surface, okay, some horizontal surface for them to project the virtual object onto it. So most likely now they use the accelerometer together with some comparisons and also some machine learning, okay, machine learning. So they try to find the nearest, nearest color on your floor and the nearest color on your table. So they will find a suitable surface for them to project the virtual object. So of course you can pay more. For example, you can have some RGB camera. So I guess somehow nowadays we have lots of the RGB camera for our front camera for the face detections for security issue. But some of the product, they really have the back camera. For example, Google Tango, okay, Project Tango, Google. So their back camera, they are using the RGBD. So somehow they know the 3D structure, okay, they know the 3D structure of your environment. So similar or somehow similar to HoloLens. So they can try to estimate all the 3D structure, and then it's good for them to estimate the floor, and then it's good for them to estimate wall, etc. But because you are using the depth camera and then you are using the mobile phone, so somehow the energy consumed about the depth camera is very high. So your energy will be exponentially dropped. Okay. Some of the AR, they also use the GPS, Wi-Fi, iBeacon to estimate the locations. Okay. Of course, also the MPX, etc. And then some of them, they will completely use the software solutions. For example, they only use the RGB camera, and then they use the object segmentations, object recognitions, and then camera segmentations to know what is the object and try to project the wording or information on it. It all belongs to the markerless AR. So here is one of the examples that we use the RGB camera with color segmentation, object segmentation, scene understanding together apply into the iOS using the MLCore and AR kits. Yeah, we are using an old iPhone. We are using some old iPhone, and then using the RGB camera to recognize the physical object. Okay, so no extra camera is used. It is a completely soft computing approach. So yeah, let us have a look with the videos.
Powder blue surgeonfish. Ocean sunfish. White shark.
Okay, so is how we can estimate the physical object by using the RGB camera and soft computing machine learning approach. If you want to know more, so you can go to our labs and then have a look. This kind of approach is starting from the iOS, okay, starting from Apple. So they try to use the iOS, and then because they have strong computation power, because you spend a lot for the iPhone 10, right? It's yearly 10,000. So they have enough computation power to do some software computing, to do some algorithms, okay? So they can do the scene understanding, okay? Most likely they are detecting the horizontal plane, so the vertical or horizontal, okay, by using their accelerometer and also by using the similar color, and then they group together, okay, and then they also use the machine learning, okay. So you are iOS user and then you want to create similar application, so you can use the MLCore together with the AR kits, okay, and then you can do the similar things for you to use the soft computing approach, okay. They by the way, the iOS, they also have some improvement, not only about the input, but also about the output. They use the lighting estimations, okay. They estimate the lighting source and then apply to the 3D model, so that all the 3D model that you are using the iOS to project, they look realistic, because they try to estimate what is the light source, and then they project similar light source onto your 3D or virtual object. And today, as I have mentioned before, lots of the camera, especially about the front camera, they have the technologies about using the depth camera, the infrared camera, okay, especially about the security, so that you can have a better security for the face detections. Otherwise, the other people is easy to use your photo, maybe from Facebook, maybe from IG, maybe from other source, and then to unlock your mobile phone. But with the depth camera, so somehow they know the 3D structure of your face, so it provides a more secure way for you to, lock the mobile phone. After the input, then we also talk about the output. Okay, output of the AR. Again, similar to the VR, so nowadays the most commonly AR output is the flat screen. Okay, flat screen. They use the camera at the back, and then they project the virtual object on your camera. So this one is called screen overlap. Okay, screen overlap, screen overlap. Similar to VR system, using the screen overlap, using the screen of your mobile is really cheap. Okay, easy to implement. Okay, and there is and it can also be developed in a limited physical computing, in a limited physical environment, so that you need not to deal with lots of physical situations. They are not only used in the mobile phone, they also used in the VR device. So somehow now lots of the VR devices such as HTC Vive, they have the camera, okay? They have the camera to capture your left eyes and right eye visions, and then they can have the overlap, okay? Overlap layer on the VR screen, okay? So this one is also a good approach because again it's cheap and easy to implement. But there is a disadvantage. Okay, you have the advantage, of course you have the disadvantage. The disadvantage is high latency. Okay, high latency, because the speed of the light is really fast. The speed of the light is really fast. It goes to your eyes in a really fast way, and then it nearly no delays about the times. But try to imagine when the camera capture your image and then it's captured by the CMOS, okay, or captured by some electronic chips, and then processed by your mobile phone and then project to your screen. So definitely there is high latency, because you maybe wait 0.01 seconds and then you still feel it's influenced or you feel is low and then it's not acceptable, especially in lots of the real-time applications. For example, in the medical applications or in the medical operations, okay, it's not acceptable. So beside the screen overlap, so we have another approach called optical overlap. Optical overlap. So optical overlaps means that the physical light go to your eyes, and then also the projection image, they will project to your light at the same time. So at the same time you have the physical light, you also have the projection light to your eyes, okay, to your eyes. So there is no delays about the physical things. And if your computation is fast enough, so somehow this is parallel situations. Okay, so there are lots of examples about the optical overlap. For example, this one, HoloLens, or some AR glasses. For example, this one is the Matalas. Okay, so this one I think is good because the HoloLens is really heavy, and then the resolution is not so good. The computation power of the hardware is not good. But for the Matalas, they only focus on the projections. Okay, they only focus on the projections, and then they use a cable connect to your mobile phone. Okay, so they are using the you say that is MLCore or smart wheel. Okay, smart wheel connect to your mobile phone. So they can use the computation power of your mobile, and then the glasses become light, and also the computation power can be adjusted by using different phone. Okay, so yeah, this one is good if you want to have a look, and then if you want to buy AR glasses, I will recommend our local brand. Okay, this one, Matalas for you. So the optical overlay, so they try to project, okay, they try to project the image on a special glasses, on a special see-through glasses, so they can capture the light on the screen at a certain angle, and then they can also let the light pass through your glasses in the parallel, or I would say the perpendicular angle, so that you can have two images. One is from the physical light, another is from the virtual, okay, at the same time. This kind of transparent display can be have a wide range of use in all the industrial level. It's not about your smartphone, it's not for the leisure. So somehow they can use in lots of the medical applications, or they can use in the security issue to check whether the body or these people can pass the security gate or not. Okay. Similar approach about the transparency, about the optical overlap. So it can be used in at least copy or holographics or volumetric displays. Okay, so this one is HoloLens. This one is holographics. So it's produced by Hot Toys, if I remember, Hot Toys, and then Iron the figure is inside, and then we'll project some virtual image overlap these gases, and then it's captured. It's widely used in lots of the high-end or seems like high technology products or some innovative product. So nowadays you can go to different shop, and then, for example, Toys R Us. Some of the Toys R Us, for example, in the in Canton, they also have such kind of display. And other is about using the volumetric display, and then there is a bin rotate in a very fast speed. Okay, rotate in a very fast speed. So it's a LED, and then they rotate to project a 3D image. So you can go to anywhere, and then you can still enjoy the image. And now I guess you go to Golden, you can buy similar products. The last one is using some electron, okay? And then they try to provide some obstacle, and then they try to create some 3D image in the air, okay? With this kind of technology, so the electrons can allow the light can be allowed to stay in the air, and then it's a true 3D graphics. But up to now, they can only project, because resolution is not good enough, so they can only project some simple graphics onto it. We still need a couple of years to wait for this kind of technologies. So this kind of approach is reproducing off screen with a long solid support, and then it gives you a sense of present, and then you can feel the space. The image appear to fold on the physical world, on the physical area. So it's another kind of AR. And of course, you can use some special material to let your image capture by this kind of special materials and project lots of different AR applications for it. Okay, so those are the examples that you can use. So after we have discussed about the hardware, then we go to the software. So the software today is easy to do. So if you only want to try the AR applications, you can use the Vifolia. Okay, Vifolia. So it's easy to use, and then I remember it's only a limit programming exercise. So you can recognize the marker, mostly is for the marker AR, and then they can recognize the artificial image, QR code, some of the 3D object, okay, 3D objects, for example, your Coca-Cola cans, etc. And then they will try to recognize the 3D object with a good texture. For example, you have a robot, and then the robot, for example, Gundam, and then Gundam, there are lots of the 2D texture on the Gundam, okay, on the Gundam, so it can be easily recognized. Vifolia combined with Unity 3D is one of your choice to easily create the AR applications. Of course, you can use another library. For example, you can use the OpenCV, etc. and etc.